Hi there guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Freddie Edwards. Sat next to me I
am Rachel.
She is Rachel. Rachel has done 3 Ironmans, so today I am going to have a bit of an informal chat with her. We have already recorded this video once and then we lost it all because the camera died and it didn't save. But anyway, I'll start. We have Rachel here. You can also find Rachel on the gram at Rachel Rutherford. I am also on Instagram. I have about 150 followers, so if you could follow me, that'd be great.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
I'm Rachel. I live in Nottingham, which is where Freddie's from. I am currently a buyer at a company called Outkit. Go check them out.
That sounds good. Get the plug in there straight away.
Absolutely. So I'm originally from Southampton. I went to uni in Birmingham, so I've kind of just like gradually made my way up the country. So I live in Nottingham at the moment and I do triathlon. A lot of it.
An Ironman Wales 2018, second place finish for her age group. It's very impressive. Ironman Lanzarote 2019, where she got first in her age group, and then qualified for the World Championships in Kona, Hawaii, which you did in October last year.
Yeah.
So Rachel's got 3 Ironmans under her belt.
24 years old.
So I guess, Rach, my first question to you, with 3 Ironmans under your belt, is why? Why do you do it?
Okay, so I think a big part of it for me is doing something that hardly anybody else does. I do sometimes get wrapped up in this world of just thinking that everyone is super fit and does all these things, but when you actually take a step back, you kind of realise that you are in a sort of separate group of people, because you have to be a certain element of crazy to do it, I think. It's a lot of training, but I think for me it's just basically, it's a challenge, it's something new. I've never done the same race twice, it's always a new race, and it's enabled me to go to a lot of cool places as well, like Hawaii. I would never have gone to Hawaii otherwise.
It's not somewhere you would typically go.
No, and I think on another thing, I just love being really fit and really fit. It's kind of nice. It's allowed me to meet a lot of people.
So it's social aspect to it as well.
So I think.
Yeah, cool. So how did you get into Ironman then?
Okay, so if I start back from, I would say I'd have a swimming background, but I probably wouldn't. I swam a lot when I was younger, but then probably around the age of 11 I kind of stopped swimming because it started on the early mornings, and then I kind of didn't do any exercise for probably about 6 years. And then when I was about 17 I decided to get into running, and it was really hard. I remember it really well. I did a couch to 5k plan. And so I got really into running for a few years, and then when I went to uni, all my really good friends there cycled, so that's where I got my first road bike.
Right, okay. So
at that point I was cycling all the time with the odd run. I tried to get 1 5k in a week, just a token gesture to keep it in there. And so at uni I did a lot of cycling, but it was while I was at uni I met a lady called Louie who was doing Ironman UK, and it kind of like planted the seed. And while it took me probably about 2 or 3 years before I actually signed up to Ironman Wales, it was always at the back of my mind. But I knew that I wasn't ready to do it because it just seemed an unreal, like, really long way. And I remember going to Lanzarote, because Lanzarote was always the one I really wanted to do. And I remember doing the Ironman bike course when I went out there a few years ago and being like, I could not imagine running a marathon after this. And it's so weird to think now that I have. So
for me personally, it's about similar to you, like you love a challenge and everything like that. For me it's just about this idea of this physical, both physical and mental, because obviously a lot of it is mental. And overcoming the mental side, the mental aspect of, spending 12, 13, 14 hours just sort of grinding away.
On your own,
So I think it's overcoming that mental challenge for me. And obviously the physical challenge as well. That's quite interesting to understand why. And in terms of, you mentioned it earlier, in terms of it giving you sort of a structure to your day, or a structure to your life, can you elaborate a bit more on on that, because obviously I follow you on Instagram and I always see you training. You're in the gym in the morning or at the pool, and then you go to work, you do a full day at work, and then you are back at the gym or at the pool or on a run or on the bike in the evening. So yeah, can you elaborate a bit about the structure it gives you?
Okay, so I'm someone who I always have to have something to work towards. If it's just working, I kind of get a bit lost in that I don't really know what I'm doing, and I kind of use goals in all part of my life. But if I've got a race that I'm building towards, it's something to aim for. And I think having a plan, so I have a coach who does mine, but having a plan for your week, you sort of work the rest of your life around it.
Yeah.
I find, so obviously I know I'm working every single day, so I do whatever sessions before work and a session after work most days, but I do have a bit of wiggle room there. But I kind of like the fact that I know what I'm doing. So it
provides you with that structure.
Yeah.
And obviously with an Ironman, let's say you book it 8-9 months in advance, obviously you've got something to aim towards as well. So that's another thing we mentioned earlier. Right, cool, great, moving on. As I just mentioned, I follow you on Instagram, I know I've mentioned this now, but you're always training basically, all the time. You don't really have a social life, do you?
Not as much as I'd like, no.
Okay, so if there's any people in Nottingham who wants to be friends with Rachel, then
harsh.
Then just reach out to her. I think what a lot of people want to know, and you said that you get questions about this all the time, how do you get into it? How do you take that step of doing a triathlon, or if you're into running or swimming, how do you take that leap of signing up for an Ironman?
So I think I signed up to my first one at a stage where I was cycling a lot, and I'd started picking my running back up. So I think if you're relatively fit, like you kind of are, because you've done a lot of cycling and things, I think it's much easier to have that confidence that you'd be able to do it. But at the same time, I kind of think that if you are going to sign up for one and you at the moment don't do anything, I would almost say to give yourself a year to get yourself into the sport.
Okay, so maybe do a try, like maybe get into try first.
It's not even getting into try, it's getting yourself used to doing that amount of training, because you can probably get by on doing like 6-8 hours a week, but you won't have the best race. And I'm the kind of person who I like to enter a race knowing that I'm going to do well and do my best and not suffer the whole way.
Yeah.
So I think if you are looking at it, properly look at what is involved in training for it. And we were saying earlier, it's really expensive, so have a look at how much you want to spend, because it literally just keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah, of course, because you need a road bike if you're not cycling, or a tri bike.
Yeah.
But and obviously I bought some running trainers yesterday, didn't I, that weren't cheap, and and the races themselves are quite expensive.
And he now knows he needs a wetsuit, and he's not very happy about that.
Yeah, I figured out.
He's going to freeze his ass off in the...
Yeah, so these things keep adding up. Obviously a tri-suit as well that my mum bought me for Christmas. So do your research, look into it. I don't know why I'm giving the advice. Yeah, we can probably cut this bit out. We have a dog barking in here. All I see is you training. So my question to you is, how do you, 1, stay motivated, and 2, find the motivation in the first place, and what would be your advice to people?
Okay, so I think when you do your first one, it's something new and something really exciting.
Yeah,
so
I can imagine.
It almost comes because you're like, oh yes, I'm getting out on the bike, and it is quite exciting. And I think my motivations have changed over the years. I'm not always motivated. People think I'm always motivated and always full of energy, and it's just not the truth.
That's not how you come across on Instagram.
I think a lot of it's determination and dedication, but also by having a plan, I know what I'm doing each week, and if I do have to move a session around, I have to move it around. It's not the end of the world. So I think for me, staying motivated, it's making it a habit. I kind of say this to anyone who wants to get into any kind of sport, is if you make it a habit, you are much more likely to do it, because when you don't do it, you feel like something's missing. So I say that's a massive part. It's just a habit, making it a plan. And also I have a coach, so I think having someone I'm accountable to, so if I start missing a whole week of sessions, he's going to be like, Rachel, is everything okay? Yeah. And I think that helps a lot as well. So
accountability is important then. So being accountable to someone, And also, yeah, setting good habits.
And also, at the end of the day, if it's something you want to do, you'll find the motivation, you'll find the time. It's just the way we are, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This was just a bit of a brief discussion with Rach to try and pull some information out of her. If you can like and subscribe to me, that would be great. I need all the followers and subscribers I can get. Yeah, you can also find Rachel on the gram at Rachel Rutherford, and you can also follow me on Instagram as well, Freddie George _. Thanks, guys.